So, today I will be speaking about the refugee crisis. The refugee crisis has affected every one of us in some shape or form. It has affected our lives, it has changed our society, and as a whole it has changed our country, and thus leaving others emotionally flustered. So before I begin, I would like to ask the question of whether any of you here know anything about the refugee crisis. Sally, could you tell me what you know?
It affects our young people, no matter what their background is, whether they are a doctor, a lawyer, whether they're a housewife, it affects people.
Yeah, as seen here, and this shows a world map, and so it proves that it can affect anybody. And so for those of you who don't know, I've bothered to put a definition of what is a refugee crisis. So the refugee crisis can refer to large movements of large groups of displaced persons, meaning refugees who have literally been forcefully kicked out of their homes or place of settlement. These groups of people could either be internally displaced people, refugees, or other migrants. And it must be outlined that approximately 1 in 113 people globally is an asylum seeker or refugee. This means that an astonishing 65 million people in the world are either asylum seekers or refugees, and this is only in the unknown world alone. And it must be outlined also that this is 1 million more than the population of the UK. And the UK has been very effective, and it's known all around the world, so imagine the refugee crisis, which contains more than the population of the UK, and so as a result have a larger effect on the whole of society. So, in the following slides I'm going to output some statements, and I would like you to give me a thumbs up if you think it's true, thumbs down if you think it's untrue. My first statement is that 65 million people were forced to flee their homes by June 2016. So if it's true, thumbs up, untrue, thumbs down. Right, most of you true. We can say that this statement is true. Fear and panic are some of the main motivators that encourage the movements of refugees from different countries. They come with almost nothing. They ultimately risk their lives in an effort to reach a safer haven and escape discrimination or persecution. And it must be outlined that a record of 65 million people in the world are forced to flee their homes, and that is only according to the UN. And the number of refugees in the world has reached the highest level ever recorded this year alone. My second statement is that the conditions of refugees that are facing starvation, diseases, and the upcoming fall of winter is overall to some extent better than the conditions that they escaped from. So true, untrue. We can say that this statement is partially true. So all of you are correct. It must be outlined that refugees who are fleeing from countries like Syria once lived in a beautiful land as seen here. This is a picture of Syria, a place in Syria before, and as you can see it has a lot of nature and it's rich in beauty as a whole. And after the civil war broke out, you can see the destruction, the rubble, and there's not much of nature around. And this beautiful land ultimately left its neighbouring countries in awe. Syrian refugees are coming to European countries because their country and land has been, as some may say, corrupted. They come losing their lands, losing their relatives, and losing common comforts, and ultimately risking their lives in an effort to seek comfort in their broken hearts and shattered dreams and hopes. Children the age of you and I may now be suffering in the conditions of winter. They may now be trudging through heaps of mud, struggling, fearful they cannot tap out the messages to their families hundreds of miles away. My third statement is that more than 350,000 refugees are estimated to be walking through the countries of Europe this year. 3,000 of those have dangerously migrated by boat in the Mediterranean Sea this year alone. And it must be outlined that 1,000 of those have died. So is this true or untrue? This statement is untrue. The shocking truth is that more than 350,000 refugees are estimated to be walking through the countries of Europe this year. However, 300,000 of those have dangerously migrated by boat in the Mediterranean Sea, and an astonishing 2,500 of those have died trying to cross. As seen here. And of the 2,500 individuals who died was little Aylan Kurdi, also as seen here. He was also known as the individual who woke us up to the truth of the refugee crisis. Aylan Kurdi, his brother Galip, and his mother, along with 9 other refugees, were travelling by boat from Turkey, trying desperately to reach across an island off the coast of Greece. Along the dangerous journey, the boat overturned and every person perished. The boy's body washed up on shore shortly after. And as far as I think that image is something that people can't ignore. It's something, particularly if you're a parent, as I can see some are here, you may realise that could be your child. Many people who have young children, and when they look at this image, all of a sudden it brings back to them that no parent would be taking this chance if they had a choice. It's something which puts a face into the refugee crisis rather than showing the number, just the number. And some quotes for us, some statements for us to think about are that we have to understand that no one puts their children in the boat unless the water is safer than the land, and that no one leaves home unless home is the mouth of the shark. And so the following slides include some recent news articles about how the refugees live. This news article from The Independent is titled 14-year-old boy is youngest refugee to die trying to cross the UK border from the Calais jungle. This is a story that has shocked the very foundations of our society. It has spread like wildfire to strike the very atriums of everyone's heart. Imagine a child that is similar to all of us in age, heart and race. Imagine that child is you, nobody else, just you. Is this boy's life any different from yours? Does he not have the right to live like you? I ask you these questions in the hope of reflection upon your situation and the blessing of safety that you have as you sit in front of me today. This second news article, also from The Independent, is titled Welcoming Refugees with Plots of Land and Cash Gives Boost to Local Economy. This slide is only one of the examples that outline the benefits of accepting refugees into our societies and our countries. It must be outlined that at the end of World War II, Britain required a large workforce to rebuild itself. And this allowed many of us to be here today, thanks to the hard work of our ancestors. So the following slides just show some of the conditions that refugees have to endure. This photo shows a general view of a shelter for migrants inside a hangar of the former Tempelhof airport in Berlin, Germany. This just shows the desperation to which refugees have to escape the bad fate that they would have had back home. This is an aerial picture which shows the jungle refugee camp where some 3,500 people lived while they attempted to enter Britain near the port of Calais, northern France. I must outline that this refugee camp has recently been demolished and the refugees have been forcefully moved out. And this leads us to the statement of what's going on the question of what's going on in the refugees' homelands and why are they forced to escape, leaving their beloved ones behind and risking their lives and ultimately becoming uncertain about their future. Well, the simple answer to that is that refugees are coming to European countries because their countries have been corrupted, as I said before, and they want to have the simple human rights of freedom of speech. They want to have the ability to have jobs and feed their children in a peaceful environment and also educate them in that environment. They want to also keep their dignity. But living under dictator leadership, asking for human rights as a human being has led to torture, discrimination, imprisonment and death, as seen in those pictures. And as this statement further outlines, in a democracy you believe it or not, and in a dictatorship you believe it or else. And the world in which we live in is single and unknowing of the world around it. The path we take is a path that is offered to every one of us. We all learn, we all have our opportunities to prosper, and most importantly, we all recognise each other as equals. This is a democracy, yet the path or paths which we take is a path that is not offered to other individuals. Many are threatened because they want to achieve, improve, change and express their ideas and views. This is a dictatorship. Many refugees escape or leave from their countries in the search for a better education and structure to their lives rather than just fear and discrimination by those in charge.